You got a felony record now, and you won't get any government benefits. So you better park those kids somewhere and get a real job. Welcome to Texas Progressive Time. My name is Neil Durrance. A week or so ago, you will recall my discussion of the fundamental and unique problems with the Texas judiciary and their political affiliation and not public allegiances. A few months ago, I witnessed an appalling but clear example of the problem with our judiciary and some members of the local bar who are apparently possessed by a clear and complete disregard for the obligation to seek justice with patience and careful thought. I was at the courthouse trying to chase down one of the ephemeral assistant district attorneys to verify a trial date. I had heard she was in another court and I could catch her if I would go down there before everybody left for lunch. I stepped into the back of the courtroom and glanced around. No DA. I turned to quickly leave when I saw an older man sitting alone in the public gallery with tears streaming down his face. I looked to the bench, and standing before one of our senior judges stood an attorney with his client. The younger lady was also extremely upset with tears streaming down her face, apparently like her father, who was observing the proceeding. I stepped to the back against the double doors entrance to the courtroom. The exchange I heard was shocking and sad, but I have to tell you, not all unusual for this county. The judge, with a completely exasperated look, said to the woman and her attorney, "Is this going to be a plea or what? I have to be at an important lunch and by noon." "But Judge," the woman said as she choked back tears, "I don't think I did anything wrong. I just borrowed a car for 15 minutes to drive down to the grocery store and get milk and diapers for my children. I was out and now my lawyer says I have to plead guilty because I got no chance at any peers judges." She broke down crying again. The judge scowled at the lawyer and growled, "Take your client out in the hall and make sure we're going to get a plea. You know what my schedule is." "I already have," said the attorney. "I've talked to her to take the plea, or a Denton County jury won't care anything about milk or babies and send her off to prison, and she'll lose her kids." "Well," said the judge, "so what are we doing? A plea or set this matter for trial, and I mean quick? I'm already late for lunch." The attorney pulled his client away from the bench and whispered something into her ear. The young lady responded, "I don't know. I know you don't get paid enough if we go to trial, but I. She paused and wiped more tears away. The judge, who was clearly agitated, abruptly said, "Ma'am, are you going to plead guilty or not guilty?" The lady choked and quietly said, "I guess I got no choice. I'm guilty, I guess." "Fine," said the judge. "I find you guilty and assess your punishment at 10 years probation." The judge went on to render the rest of the conviction language required to be recited at the entry of a felony plea of guilty. "You got a felony record now, and you won't get any government benefits, so you better park those kids somewhere and get a real job." He stood up and hustled off the bench. After watching this spectacular and depressing exchange, I almost took out one of my business cards and handed it to the father seated in the gallery committing barratry, but I did not. What should have happened is that this senior judge, who has presided over a few thousand pleas of guilty, should have simultaneously halted the proceedings and said, "Counsel, your client is obviously upset and under a great deal of duress. I think her plea will not be free and voluntary, and, ma'am, if you don't believe that you can get a fair and impartial jury of your peers, that's my job, and I will see that you get it on my honor and my word as a judge for the state of Texas. But he didn't. You see, the problem with our criminal justice system is not that the laws or the rules of the system are a problem within the structure. No, the problem is most of the parties in the courtroom in Texas have lost any interest in seeking real justice as a fundamental element of their actions. It is about minimizing their labor output, making the quickest dollar, or simply getting to lunch on time. So, what do? First, we have to have the patience to seek justice in a timely manner. All parties, including a lowly criminal defendant, must insist on taking the time necessary to do so. We all may have to work a little harder, have a few more trials, or file a few more defensive motions. But let the system work, and make sure those within the system are simply doing their jobs and not rushing off for lunch. Second, the only reason motivating the people in the criminal justice system cannot be money or a quick cash job. We need moral attorneys and court personnel who think the practice of law is a license and calling to seek justice and equity, and not just a license to make an easy money. Third, we must all pay more attention and ask the fundamental questions about the moral character of those who seek the bench for reasons other than politics. The bench in Texas should be apolitical. How do we do that? Stay tuned. It's not hard, but it takes courage and willingness to stand up for justice. A little hint. It's called a modified Missouri plan. If you believe as I do, we need respect and dignity and not hatred and retribution on any side of our country, then like and subscribe. And I'll see you next week.